Huh? So, dudes, today I thought I'd do something a little bit different, because I just got up and I saw this article that was trending on Twitter, which is the first mistake that I made. You know, you can probably already see where this video is going just based off of that. The article is basically making the claim that gaming is taking the place of a lot of people's monotonous sort of 9-to-5 jobs. And a lot of these behavior patterns and a lot of there's like this mental space where your job used to be that gaming is kind of taking the role of for some people. And I understand that that's not an incorrect claim to be made for some people, but to those people, what are you doing? So when I was studying at Shepherd, we talked a lot about how the manner in which you portray your point can often mean more than the point that you're making. And this is a very good example of that, because it starts right out of the gate with a really kind of bizarre statement in and of itself, right? Like, gaming during the pandemic is starting to feel like work. Why would you do that? And then it goes, and that's not a bad thing. So you're playing the video game like a job. Okay. Why does it feel like a job, first of all? Second of all, if you're not getting paid for it, which I presume that you're not, most people in this article anyway, how does putting in job-like effort and not getting paid sound like a good thing to you? Because it doesn't sound like a good thing to me. I'm just gonna be straight. If I wasn't making money off of video games, I'd be like, bye. There's some parts of the article that I've read and I've tweeted about, and then I got halfway through it and I was like, I want to make a video about this because this is like, I'm not starting beef. These are my opinions. I'm reading an article written by another human being. I know. It's crazy. You think I'm being an idiot? You know, explain how in the comments, and then we're gonna make it. We'll be okay. On March 15th, just days before Chicago would issue a shelter-in-place order in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Max Plenke decided to get really into Counter-Strike. Okay, well now I know why you feel like it's work. Recognizing that he was about to spend a lot of time in his apartment, Plenke, a branded content editor, a content gang, realized that there was probably no better time than now for him to jump back into one of the most competitive online shooters after nearly 2 decades of not playing. Ooh, yeah. Over the past 2 months, he's logged over 200 hours. Those are rookie numbers. You gotta bump those numbers up. In early April, Leah Russell, a Bay Area labor reporter, dusted off the PS4 she had bought with her dad 2 years ago and started exploring a fading Wild West in Red Dead Redemption 2. If there's a time in my life where I can justifiably sit on my butt and play games, it's now, Russell tells me. Stop. 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 How does that feel like work? You're just playing Red Dead. That's not a job. If you're just getting paid to play Red Dead, that sounds like a great job to me. I want to do that. Where can I sign up? Oh, well, Greg, that's just a straw man argument. You're being facetious. People get paid to play video games just by streaming. No, streaming is not getting paid to play video games. Like, if you're Travis Scott or Drake and you play Fortnite, people are gonna watch you play Fortnite because you're Travis Scott or Drake. The reason Travis Scott can play a video game and make money just because he's playing a video game is because he made Rodeo. He has another audience from a separate avenue from his music career that he can carry over to a Twitch channel. This is why building an audience on Twitch is so hard, is because there's no discoverability on Twitch. Like, if you're already there, like if you already made it, it's great because it's a very stable position to be in because you're going to get recommended at the front page. You have to have some kind of draw on other platforms to grow on Twitch. You have to route people to Twitch to give you like a little bump, to give you a little bit of help. But hey, you know, I've been playing a lot of Red Dead too. You know, it's like a job, except for all the job parts. I did a thing for an extended period of time. It's a job. It's like a job. After a day of struggling to get anything done at work, the ability to jump into a game and knock out some side quests. That sounds so strange. Just saying that out loud. That almost sounds like something like a robot would say if they were like mimicking a human. Oh boy, I can't wait to get on Skyrim and knock out some side quests or rack up some wins. No, dude. It sounds like an anime character. Oh boy. I can't wait to rack up. It's like if someone made an esports anime, that's what the main character would sound like. I sure can't wait to rack up some... I sure can't wait to rack up some wins today. What the fuck? Let's rack up those wins, guys. God damn it. We're not playing video games to escape the daily grind anymore. We're playing to recreate it. Why? Why would you do that? Watch Netflix. Go for a walk. I don't know. Do yoga. Games that have jumped in popularity amidst the COVID-19 crisis. Animal Crossing, Call of Duty Warzone, most notably, same thing. Whether working from home or unemployed or just unable to do the things we normally do outside, we now have a surplus of free time that video games have been specifically designed to fill. Tightly designed, escapist power fantasies with jaw-dropping visuals. This is what journalist Frank argued in his piece on why video games are better than real life. This is literally how Ready Player One starts. This is how. This is Wall-E. This is fucking Wall-E. Everyone's just gonna float in chairs and play video games. Oh boy, I sure love video games. This is amazing. Video games are rife with those Pythagorean vistas. This gives me an outlet to feel like I'm doing something even if it can't be tangibly measured, says Russell. I can't do things like going to the grocery store without extreme planning in advance. 3 questions. Question 1. Why? Question 2. How? Question 3. What? Y'all want to know how I went to the grocery store before COVID? I'll show you. Wallet, phone, keys. Okay. During COVID, I bring a mask. The whole appeal of World of Warcraft, English professor Kevin Moberly explains in a 2010 paper. World of Warcraft challenges players to make something of this world, not simply to make sense of it or map its contradictory spaces, but to produce value from it, he writes. What World of Warcraft sells players, in this sense, is a chance to struggle metaphorically against the very thing that oppresses them. Why is it always so, like, bigger picture, we live in a society, whatever? The draw, Moberly goes on to explain, isn't so much the spectacle of taking on 100-foot-tall demigods with 40 fellow players, sure about that? But rather how we're able to turn taking on 100-foot-tall demigods into something that looks and feels like work. If your raid feels like work, your guild sucks. Now that my character touts some of the best gear in the game, I've settled into a routine, treating my position as a full-time raider in my guild as a full-time job. I put in the time to gather materials for powerful potions. I structure my days around logging in to receive powerful buffs, all so I can perform when it comes to raid night. And in the morning, after I scour through the data of each boss fight from the night before, I analyze how I can improve. I play World of Warcraft not to escape the late capitalism drive for productivity, but to recreate it, to prove to myself that even as my own industry crumbles, I can still do stuff. You're playing World of Warcraft. You just described how you play World of Warcraft. I mean, shit, like, comparatively, World of Warcraft is pretty tame compared to some Korean MMOs out there. Like, the whole point is you put in effort, you compete, and then when you win, it feels good. For how much you can invest in it, it's nice to have something that you don't really care about. And that's a weirdly comforting place to be. I will do this because I like it, and I'll just put it down and I won't think, ah man, I really should have played Counter-Strike for another hour today. Which one is it? Man, I should have played Counter-Strike for another hour today. That sounds like something a professional CSGO player who plays CSGO as a job would say. Is it a job? Or not? For Russell, she was never one to binge watch, too passive an experience to feel like she was doing anything, she says. But with video games, she has no problem playing upwards of 3 hours at a time. Thanks for watching. In the before times, seeing a friend spend hours every night and slay the spire might raise an eyebrow. Sure, if you're an asshole. Today, the feeling is more like, hey, good for them. Why just today? Why couldn't you felt good for them 6 months ago? Why now? What's different about it? You know, a lot of people will tell you, do what you like. Don't worry about the money. And there's different schools of thought on that sort of thing. But what I would say is get really, really good at what you like. And 9 times out of 10, you'll make money. I think the article just really confuses me because I'm so used to people telling me that what I do isn't a real job. You know, playing video games isn't a real job, this, and that. And the argument I always make to counter that is that what I do is more than just playing the video game. I create content, I write copy, I record audio, I edit video. I'm like, it's a very well-rounded process. There's a reason you don't really see a lot of competitive Rainbow Six Siege YouTubers, like YouTubers that just focus on solely the competitive side of the game. It's because competitive is a huge time sink. And because it's a huge time sink, the barrier of entry is a lot higher compared to just booting up the game and hitting quick match. So the audience for that sort of content is very niche. It's very small. Sometimes niches on YouTube are very useful for targeting a market. Sometimes they're too small. People play games for different reasons. Some people just play games to fuck around and have a good time. That's fine. Some people derive their enjoyment of the game from competing. That's okay too. But the article's like comparison between games like Counter-Strike and Red Dead Redemption 2 and looking at a game like Counter-Strike and going, this kind of feels like work. Yeah, no shit. Because it's Counter-Strike. You're playing competitive Counter-Strike. You're playing one of the sweatiest games ever made. And likewise, if you're playing competitive Animal Crossing, I mean, hey, man. Good for you, dude. That just seems a little bizarre to me, personally. Play what the fuck you want, you know? More people are inside playing video games because they can't do anything outside and they're unemployed. If y'all want to read it, I'll link the article in the description. I'm done with that though. Let me know if you want to see more game news article commentary stuff like this. And I'll see you all next time. Deuces.